didn't need this movie to save the MCU. I didn't need it to pay certain, respects to bygone characters from other universes. Even though we got some of those, I don't care about any of that. I don't care about justice for certain characters that came from another comic book or an intellectual property. Just be funny. Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. Spoilers coming fast. We're talking Deadpool and Wolverine. Wade Wilson living the quiet life, selling used cars and enjoying life with his friends. When the Time Variance Authority shows up and convinces him to become Deadpool again to save the universe, and he needs the help of an alternate universe and a live Wolverine to do it.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
He eventually convinces him.
Let's f***ing go! Let's f***ing go.
We have a big question for everybody, too, that we'll be talking about after we give scores.
The question of the week, the big question is, just announced at SDCC this weekend, what do we think of Robert Downey Jr., who played Tony Stark in Iron Man, playing Doctor Doom in 2 future Avengers movies? We're going to leave it at that for now.
This is one of those movies that no matter what, there are expectations going in.
Yeah.
Because it's a sequel.
Huge.
It's Deadpool. You're bringing in Wolverine. It's been hyped up. You cannot go into this movie without some sort of expectation, whether it's low, whether it's high, whether you're going to see this or that. I know it's difficult because I'm one that typically has expectations. Gover does his best to not have them. Tries really, but you can't avoid expectations of any sort with this movie. This movie, for me, met my expectations and more because I didn't know what direction it was necessarily going to go. We got too much from the trailers in terms of some appearances, but we didn't get much of what the story was going to be, what it was going to pay an homage to as well with the 20th Century Fox Marvel universe. Again, there's spoilers coming, so we've warned you. Okay?
Lots of them.
Lots of spoilers. So I didn't know it was going to go that route. So when I say the end more, that's the end more for me because I did not expect to have appearances by Blade and Elektra, and especially the Channing Tatum version. I did not expect those things.
Yep.
So to add those on, we knew there was going to be cameos. We just knew because we got some tease with X-23 and things like that throughout. But it went above and beyond in terms of the fan service. And that the thing is, this is the movie where it is 100% okay to give fan service because that's what we wanted. By bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, it was fan service right off the bat. But they still kept within what the MCU is trying to do with the TVA, linking it to Loki, linking it to so many things. This movie, again, just like so many other ones of like Twister and other things like that, it doesn't have to have too much depth to it. It needs to be very entertaining, comedic. You get your Ryan Reynolds and your Hugh Jackman together at last, finally, for a full film. And it gave me that. It gave me plenty of laughs, humor, one-liners, cameos, Easter eggs to where you need to see this movie multiple times to pick up on everything they put in the background. That's what's going to make it even more successful because people are going to see it multiple times in the theaters because they want to pick up on all those little things you might have missed. It's a hit for me. It was a wonderful, entertaining film that it had some heart to it as well. And that's what I wanted, was just a laughing good time with Deadpool and so many F-bombs I couldn't even keep track.
Yeah. I went into the movie, I wanted a lot of comedy. I just want Ryan Reynolds to say something or do something funny every 5 seconds. I got it. Like, I didn't need this movie to save the MCU. I didn't need it to pay certain, respects to bygone characters from other universes. Even though we got some of those, I don't care about any of that. I don't care about justice for certain characters that came from another comic book or an intellectual property. Just be funny. And with the addition of the absolute deadpan, straight guy Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman perfectly, it was awesome. All right, right, let's get into some of the surprise cameos because I think that's what people are having the most fun with. So let's just get to them right away. Remember, spoiler free. No. We are spoiling stuff on purpose.
That's right.
We're extremely spoiled.
Can I go first? Because I have a real good one.
I definitely want you to go first.
And mine's a 1. There's a lot of good ones that I'm sure you guys are going to mention.
Okay.
Dog pool. That's mine. As a lover of dogs, to have dog pool not just be like one of the characters that comes out of the Marvel Sparkles.
Right.
But he also has, as he put it, but to actually play a part and like, oh my gosh. So
and over the top. Hold the shot way too long for comedic effect.
Awesome.
Wow. That dog's name is Peggy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you hear what they had to put in Ryan Reynolds' mouth to get the licking?
No.
It was salmon paste.
Gross.
That and the
it.
dog's tongue. So, like, you got
had to
both.
put it in his
you
mouth.
got both those things in his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
The man was committed.
So how
bit.
long did it take for Blake to kiss him again? I mean, Lady Pool. How long did it take Lady Pool to kiss him again?
None of my business.
Okay, a couple things because they built it up so well with Chris Evans.
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Not as Cap.
But as the Human Torch, flame on!
Yeah.
When we're just waiting for it, and you know it's not going to happen because they keep building. It's not going to say Avengers Assemble, and the way they keep it hidden and everything. The audience reaction was perfect, too, because we were hoping we'd get something like this, maybe Secret Wars, right? We knew this might be a possibility just for a small tidbit of it, but the way they leaned into the Human Torch aspect of this and had fun with it, and I think you could see on screen that Chris Evans had fun trolling.
Oh, yeah.
Through this.
Everybody
so much fun.
had fun making this movie. It's like so obvious. This is the best set to be on.
Oh, 100%. So you have that, and then that leads into the post-credit scene as well, which is fantastic throughout that.
I mean, because we are spoiling things completely to the surprise of everybody in the theater. Validates what Deadpool was saying about. We thought for sure he made up all that crap.
Oh, it was great.
And then all of a sudden we see.
And Logan could have backed him up in the moment.
Yeah.
He chose not to.
But he actually said it. Oh my God. That was I think, my favorite post-credit scene in years.
Absolutely. Because it didn't have to lead anything, but it actually ties up a loose end. Mm-hmm. Like, most of the time it's teasing what's next, right? Or tying it into the universe some form or fashion. No, this actually tied up a very small plot hole of whose fault it was that he died.
That he's yelling throughout the movie, I didn't get Johnny killed. And he's the guy that doesn't care if he kills people 99.9% of the time.
He said, quote me on that.
But he really wanted everybody to know, and he gets vindicated with that post-credit scene. Absolutely blew me away.
All right. Now, this is one of those films, too, that dives deep into meme lore and fan edits and everything in so many different ways. The Calverine.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. When they're panning to Henry Cavill, from the back, you could tell it wasn't Hugh Jackman.
Right.
Dude was big. And then when it turns and it's Henry Cavill, because there's so many fans that have fan cast Henry Cavill's next Wolverine. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And he was like, come on set for one day.
Right.
We'll shoot this. You'll be done. People are going to love it. And people did. The Short King Wolverine, comic book accurate. Lost it. It's these little things.
These are things I didn't like. They were rich to me, but I had no idea.
Because in comic books, Wolverine's supposed to be like 5'3".
Yeah, no idea.
Little things like that. It's like, hey, little buddy, little hairy buddy. So many of these. Okay, we in terms of Easter eggs, we had the Hydra cap shield.
Okay.
In the desert land area. Sorry, what's the land called again?
That nomad land.
Yeah, the void. Sorry, we had Hydra cap shield in the void. We had a helicarrier in the void. We had the ice cream cart from. Oh gosh, just forgot the name of it with Oscar Isaac.
Oh, Moon Knight.
From Moon Knight.
Right.
So many little things.
The 20th Century Fox logo.
Which was spoiled by the trailer. But that one's okay.
Oh, and then having cast from the Fox X-Men coming back into play, like Pyro and Toad. I mean, we got that, but that's not necessarily even fan service. It's just tying things together in a very cool fashion.
Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Oh, gosh.
Totally shocked me.
Awesome.
I did not think they were going there. It was fun. They've been kind of teasing, and even within the movie tease, like, hey, we're gonna recast this thing and reboot it? Maybe. Like Deadpool gives you like, so it leaves that open. Jennifer Garner as Elektra, never expected it. Love to see her. That was exciting.
The line.
And then to say that nothing was off limits, because we can talk about all the references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Deadpool makes, and just nothing, even the actors' personal lives, totally factored in. So he's got Jennifer Garner in front of him, who was married to Ben Affleck, who played Daredevil. And he says, what about Daredevil? She said,
I'm sorry about Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's
She's
okay.
like, whatever. Which is just, it was awesome.
It was awesome.
The thought behind some of these cameos as well. Like when Channing Tatum comes in, and you think back to 10 years ago, when it was announced that Channing Tatum was getting a Gambit movie. And the fact that at Comic-Con, Channing Tatum was wearing the same shirt this year as he was 10 years ago. I mean, It's the thought of this as well, too. And also how people were going, wait, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and acknowledging that with, who's your dialect coach?
Yeah, well, it was a great joke. Somebody okay, that character is totally unknown to me. I thought it was really funny. I recognized him as Channing Tatum. The dialect was really funny. And then he says, was it the cast of Minions that was your dialect coach? I mean, it was amazing.
It's the thought behind it. Wasn't cameo for cameo's sake. There was a reason behind all these cameos, and I think people want to say, well, it's just fan service, Yeah, it's fan service, but it's well thought through fan service, because a lot of times movies will just plop something in there as an Easter egg and be like, oh, which we did plenty of that, right? We did plenty of pointing at the screen I remember that. But the depth of thought behind these cameos, a lot of those weren't even cameos. Those were side characters. They were part of the film. It wasn't 30 seconds on the screen. They were part of a fight and a battle. They were part of the cast.
They were necessary at some point.
And that's paying homage to that whole universe, that it's not necessarily, it's giving them a good closure.
Right.
Because you're not going to get something else. They acknowledge that. They're not getting another type of ending. Here's your way to close out.
Here's your shot.
Here's your one shot to have a finality to your storyline. So I really appreciate that's the heart behind it too, because while they're making fun of so many things, they give it a little bit of heart by saying, here's your one chance at closure and having a final say for your character. We talked about Lively. We also have Ryan Reynolds, 2 of his kids.
Yeah, the whole family was in it.
So then Matthew McConaughey as Cowboy Deadpool.
Yes.
Nathan Fillion as Headpool.
Yep.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds as Nice Pool, which was great. The proposal.
That was
awesome.
Oh,
I mean,
it was great. Rob McElhenney was a TVA soldier.
So he got so many people in his life involved in this, and that's what's so great too, because that people are going to answer the phone when Ryan Reynolds calls, and they want to be part of his projects. That means something in Hollywood when you have people that are respected and want to be part of projects with you because they appreciate your humor, appreciate your passion behind a project. You don't see it all that often, and you can definitely tell when it is there on screen that people are willing to just be a part of a project for you.
Yep. And they're saying, I don't care how small it is. I just want to be there. I want to be in it. All right, let's get some scores. Deadpool and Wolverine, the most anticipated movie of 2024, has finally seen our eyeballs and our earballs.
And probably some other parts of our bodies.
Yeah.
Some other balls.
Exactly. Balls. Let's score it. Let's find out what everybody thought of it. Let's go to who's usually Mr. Picky. Gover, what did you think?
This is a fun time at the movies, you guys. Deadpool and Wolverine is so fun. Again, they gave me everything I wanted to get out of it and more than what I thought I was going to get. The cameos were awesome, but they weren't, again, gratuitous. Maybe they started off as gratuitous. I'm not going to say that, right? Like bringing Wesley Snipes back as Blade, that's pretty unbelievable. But it probably turned into, well, if we can get Jennifer Garner, we can get Wesley Snipes, then maybe they can help him.
There's a story around it.
There's a story around it.
There's
Right.
a reason.
It's not just can he walk through the frame and do something funny and, it's Blade, whatever, right? So that was really great. I personally, as a son who is, or as somebody who has a son who is dabbling in acting right now, there were so many different fourth wall breaks on that process too. Like when the TVA agent comes in, he says a line or two. I don't remember what the scene was. It's just, there's so many, but Deadpool says, "Oh, great! Shot by a day player." I mean, that was hilarious. And then he comes out of that shot up building right when they do the Marvel sparkles, and everyone's coming off. All the different Deadpools are coming, and he goes, he's like, "All right, hey, hold for the extra."
In the beginning too, it's like no lines, man.
Yeah. Which is a callback to yeah. So I was just picking all those different. It's just so funny. So I think he even threw in all ADs are boring. I think he even threw that in at some point. It was just
So self-aware.
Yeah, it was just so great. So it hit at all different kinds of levels. Here's my thing, and this I barely take points off for this, but I have to bring it up. This is not for everybody.
Well, no, it's rated R.
Well, no. What I mean is, so in order for my wife to see it on Thursday night, opening night, we had to drop my son off at my parents' house, okay? And they do what they always do. They was like, "Oh, how was the movie?" Like, "Oh, it was great, so funny." "What did you see?" "Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine." "Oh, really? Would we like it?" The answer is hell no. They wouldn't understand it. It's not that they don't have that sense of humor at all. They wouldn't understand why there's a fourth wall break on every scene. They'd probably get up and leave.
Yeah,
it's not for everyone. Now, again, I know it's an extreme, but I'm saying it's not just this blanket statement of everyone's going to love it. Probably 80% of the population will.
You're absolutely right, because people are calling out on social media the people that were in their theaters that left 3.5 minutes into the movie when they figured out this is the kind of movie it is.
Yes.
Don't. First of all, you can't watch this movie without watching the first two, and they get progressively harder to understand references.
For sure.
If you go into the theater just because there's hype around it and you didn't do one thing when Google's free, that's on you, dumbass.
I understand that. I'm simply saying if
you're right,
it's not for everyone.
If people get up and walk out after just a few minutes, I laugh at them because they're idiots. They did zero research. That is on them.
They threw their money away.
And if they go and demand a refund, I hope they didn't get it.
Great. The score for you is 0.
And I hope every side of their pillow is warm and sweaty and humid.
Okay.
Back to Gover's score.
Yes, back to my score. So I'm going to give it an 8.0. It's probably my second or third favorite movie of the year.
Where does it rank with Age of Ultron?
Okay, that's all right. We're not. It's
in the MCU.
That's enough. It's an 8.0 because I said of the year. It's 8.0 because again, it's so funny, so rewatchable, but it's got heart, like Bradford said. It's true to itself. It's not Disneyfied, which everyone, including myself, thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to tone it down or some sort of thing, and they didn't. If anything, they went full on.
Oh,
the amount of blood in it is like insane. Which is obviously nobody cares. But I'm just saying, like, that's
vulgarity, violence.
Oh yeah,
they just said let's effing go.
They said, look, if they're not going to limit us, then we're going to lean into it.
It's called maximum effort.
It is maximum effort. That's right. 8.0 for me.
All right, for this movie, I think there's two ways to look at it, because I know that everybody's coming in with those expectations. Like I said at the beginning, my expectations were, give me what Deadpool is and just turn it up 15 notches. And that's exactly what I got. So for a Deadpool movie, I'm going to give it, because I wanted the comedy, 8.5. Okay?
For a Deadpool movie.
For a Deadpool movie.
Okay.
If I was just to look at the landscape of all movies, like the plots and what it serves and the redemptions and, all those things, maybe a 6.5, like if you're out of the fan universe, but I'm not. So, it wasn't the best Deadpool movie if you're looking besides comedy at what's going on. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, how would you rank them, Jim? 1, 2, 3? Or 1, 3, 2? I'm assuming 1 is fresh.
Okay, it's 1 is forever, emblazoned at the top, Hall of Fame. The next two, almost an A and B. because I'd love to so very much. And the fact that there were so many great things from 2 in this third one, like bringing back Peter in a substantially funny and different way, and all his best friends are from the first movie, and I was a little thrown off by. They explained why he's not with, Morena Baccarin and Vanessa's character, and it was sort of a driver of a plot, but that was kind of weak. They just kind of gave it some lip service and moved on. So it's not a perfect movie, but 2 and 3 are just, they're so much fun. And I would say I would rank them equal.
Okay.
Bradford. Who are you? Who are all you?
He's the one who saw it late. Sorry.
Oh, that was
one last dig. I'm sorry.
And I saw it in Dolby, and it was beautiful.
I bet it was, actually. Yeah, I didn't see it in Dolby.
So it's always funny for films like these, where this is not meant to be critically acclaimed.
Yes.
Right.
It's meant to be fun. I take things in different forms. Like if I'm looking at Dune, yes, that's science fiction and things like that, but that's going for critical acclaim with the way it's built as a film.
Oh, yeah, gravity.
Right.
Yeah, it's got a weight to it.
Twisters, built to be entertaining, blockbuster, make money. Yeah, you want a good story and for it to be fun and things like that, but it's built to be entertaining. Top Gun Maverick, while it got nominations and everything, that's built to fully entertain and reek on that nostalgia, right?
They're the great ride at the fair.
Right, you're not looking for it to be critically acclaimed. So when I go, and it's been a while since I brought up RT, it's curious to read some critical reviews of this because I feel like they come up with some big words just to trash a film that obviously they weren't going to enjoy, period. Like, some people go into a film like this, you go over, it's not for everyone. It 100% is not. This is built for the fans of not just Marvel, but just Deadpool. There's some people that probably hate the MCU stuff, but they love Deadpool, right?
Oh, yeah,
They love the idea of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman sharing the screen in so many ways that they didn't care about the MCU. They want Deadpool and only Deadpool, right? It's made for a lot for all those people in so many ways.
Yep.
Not meant for this guy.
Are we going to name this guy?
John Urbanchik.
Okay.
The laid-to-waste 20th Century Fox logo displayed in a plot-pivotal Badlands called The Void might remind movie lovers of Planet of the Apes, an original classic, which still offers more meaningful summer sequels than this one ever seriously will be.
Well, I think the word there was they used seriously. Stop it! Seriously, and Deadpool should never be even near each other.
You've missed the point.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I have fun reading those because then I walk out of the theater laughing and wanting to talk about it with people, but also being very mindful that so many people waiting right outside the theater are going to see it for the first time. Yes, I walked out excited because it gave me everything I wanted and more, like we discussed at the beginning. It gave me the cameos with thought behind it. It gave me a fun story. It gave me so many quips between those two characters that they played so well off each other, and you can tell the chemistry is so there for it. It gave me... we didn't even talk about the villain. Because it wasn't as important. Cassandra was not as important. She played a role throughout this.
And a fun one.
And a fun role.
Yeah, and Emma Corrin played it well.
Yeah, but it didn't ruin or make the movie better. That's great because the focus was on the main characters and the comedy and everything we saw there too. And that's what meant so much to me, is that I was nonstop laughing, but it never felt like things were too forced. Everything had a reason behind it, and there was thought behind the humor and the jokes. Marvel humor is something that some people appreciate or they just get sick of.
Right.
So much, right?
Two camps.
This wasn't Marvel humor. This was straight Ryan Reynolds Deadpool humor. It was fully different. Like, there weren't, the jokes weren't forced. Like, the meta jokes about the film industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're not getting that in a typical Marvel movie. This is very much, only few people are going to get this, but the ones that do are going to really, really appreciate that humor. It's made for, every joke was made for a certain segment of people, and I'm sure I got ones that maybe you guys didn't get, and you guys got ones that I didn't get as much, and that's what's so great about when you have a passionate person writing for this, is that there's going to be something for everyone that wants humor.
And there's plenty that
Plenty
you need to know
around.
nothing about.
Yeah,
So
plenty.
somebody going in who doesn't really they don't spend the time thinking about, the Deadpool movies like we do, are still going to be entertained. I mean, at the trailer, my wife, she's seen both Deadpool movies, and she is like the last person you'd expect to love Deadpool. She does, because it's just so irreverent. And when she saw Ryan Reynolds look at Hugh Jackman in character going, oh my God, Disney's going to make you do this role till you're 90.
Yeah.
She just laughed out loud. And the film industry is not something she follows or cares about, but it slayed her.
And then it had the callback later in the movie of till you're 90. That's just good comedic writing.
It is.
It is.
And great comedic timing.
That's the
So
way you do
I
it.
say all that I've fully enjoyed it, and so many people will, and that's why you're going to see the critics bag on a little bit. Not all of them, right?
Right.
Audience scores are going to be through the roof because the people that want to enjoy this are going to enjoy it.
Yes.
That's who it's for. It's going to make a ton of money, and it's doing its job as a movie. It is 100% doing its job, and not everyone does its job.
Right.
Madam Web.
Two extremes, but yes.
Very too extreme, but seriously,
no,
though, right?
That's true.
Becoming a meme, if that was its job, well done. That's it.
You make superhero movies to tell a story and to make money.
Yep.
Not every film is meant to make money. Artistic value.
true.
There's artistic value to it. There's award winning. There's passion projects for certain artists and actors out there that just want to make this because they believe in a project. They want to do it. These are meant to make money, so it's accomplishing its goal already, and it's going to continue to do that. And I say all that because all this goes into fully reviewing it and what makes it successful. I give it an 8.5. And that is really high for a superhero movie, right? It accomplished so many things. I can't give it that critical acclaim of this is a great movie in terms of plot, story, writing. But in terms of a comedy, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a comedy. We get really high critical ratings. This one accomplished so many things. It's awesome. I want to see it again and again and again because I'm going to pick up something new every single time.
I have one more word for us. Gubernatorial.
Untitled Film Project Podcast, end of every episode, we do a big question. Usually you didn't have to see the movie, but today we're going to focus on current events because it was revealed at Comic-Con that Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not as Tony Stark and Iron Man, but as the new villain, Dr. Doom.
So our big question on this episode is, what do we think about the SDCC news that Tony Stark / Iron Man / really Robert Downey Jr. will be returning to the MCU, but as a different character, as Dr. Doom? This is, to me, if you saw the video footage of the Hall, it was a great moment. He takes off the mask. No one expects it to be him. It could have been Emmanuel Lewis. It would have been. People would have expected that more.
Yes.
So the fact that it was Robert Downey Jr. was just, everyone went bonkers. He seemed to kind of choke up with the love in the room and all that stuff. But as I thought about it more and more, I was like, I don't know if I like this. So I wanted to bring it to you guys. And you, of course, as well. What do you guys think? Jim.
I got mixed feelings about this because I think Robert Downey Jr. is one of our great actors.
Yes.
Is there anything he can't do? Not much, right? The guy's just incredible. And his portrayal of Tony Stark is the reason any of these movies are being made today.
Yes.
It ushered in an entire era of movie making. And I think with a lesser actor, that wouldn't have happened. I have such respect for him. I don't know. Here's the problem. If I see him as Dr. Doom, a new character, am I going to see Iron Man in my brain at the same time? Okay. Or will they be able to pull off not having those two? Is it covering his face the whole time?
Most of the time, Dr. Doom's wearing a mask.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of it could be voice work.
Okay.
And things so here's one. There are a couple different scenarios, right? They said they were playing Victor Von Doom, right? Is it going to be a Tony Stark variant, an evil version? I don't think That's where they're going to go with this.
I don't want that.
I don't think most people want that. They'd want him playing a version of this, of Victor Von Doom. They can make him look very different. It is mostly with a mask. There's so many different ways. It's been by the time this comes out, it'll have been close to 10 years, 9 years since he played Iron Man.
Yeah.
Fully played
25?
Since he
26, sorry.
Since
26.
he started, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, since he finished.
Endgame is 19, right?
Right, so I mean, was it 19?
2019, yeah.
Wow, it seems like it's so long ago. Thanks, pandemic. There have been some time passed. I think he's a great actor, so he can do anything. If it is mostly voice and motion work, body movements, things like that, you can make it different because he is such a great actor. There's going to be more to the story. We already know that. Yes. It's Marvel. There's going to be more to this. Are they going to bring in something like a Nathaniel Richards? Time traveling because they got to tie up the loose ends with Kang, right? There's so many things because they're switching. They're doing a full turn here.
Yes.
Wait, because it's not Kang Dynasty anymore. It's Doomsday and Secret Wars, but they still have to tie up something, right? They can't just they have to tie something in there. So, given that Kang the Conqueror is related to Nathaniel Richards, and then you have the whole time with the Fantastic Four. They're going to time jump in Secret Wars, time jump into a different universe with the multiverse. How are they going to tie in all these different characters? I think there's a way they can make this work without people being confused because it's just, think goatee, cyber hair, things like that. I'm okay with it because Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic. He's a great actor. He did have his goodbye, an emotional goodbye to Marvel, to the fans, to the character. So they're going to have to do a very good job of making it very different and explaining themselves so people don't get confused and not have Iron Man jokes. If you put in Iron Man jokes, it reminds people. I think you build the character properly to make people completely forget that. Now, if you have a Deadpool appearance with him on the screen, that's the only free pass of making an Iron Man joke.
Right. Like
because it's in character.
He can make it. Right? Yeah. But he's the only character that could jump in for 1 second, make a joke, and it lands.
Exactly. That's the only one. Can't be Spider-Man, can't be anybody else, can't be Captain America in any form or fashion. Yeah. You have to build the character completely different. And then you bring the Russo brothers in. Right. Through all this. Through the next two Avengers movies, which I'm totally fine with that as well. Because
I have no problem with that.
If anything, they know how to make Avengers movies.
They're good at it.
Because they haven't done much since.
I don't understand the hate against that, actually. They announced it, they're like, they're rolling it back. Yeah, because it was good.
Because it did work.
What was really good? Yeah, let's do that again.
Yeah,
Instead of.
They know how to make a good movie with big casts. That's a key. How do you make a good movie, like Infinity War, is better than Endgame? It's a better movie overall than Endgame. I love Endgame, but Infinity War is much, much better of a movie.
We've talked about this.
Richly satisfying.
So the Russo brothers know how to bring in so many different personalities and characters and continue to build those without letting people get forgotten. Because you think of how much jumping goes around in both of those, Infinity War and Endgame, yet you don't feel as lost if you've been following along, but you still have the characters continue to develop and have their own stories. It takes a special type of director or directing duo to be able to make that happen and make a good movie. These two movies are going to have a lot of people involved that they're going to have to balance, and they're good at doing that.
So I want to piggyback off what you just said, because you mentioned Kang and how it's not Kang the Conqueror anymore. It's not Kang Dynasty, all that stuff. This is actually one of the reasons that I think this may have happened to begin with. So I think there's three things. There's three takeaways that I had when I was kind of wrestling with why in the world would they bring Robert Downey Jr. back, other than the fact that, again, as we talked about, he's a phenomenal actor. Okay, the first one is they went out and they got Jonathan Majors to play Kang, which was tremendous. We all know he was the best part of Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yep.
We all know that he was tremendous in Devotion. We all know that he was tremendous in Creed 3. Like, he is incredible. Then he goes and gets himself into personal trouble, and Marvel says, and Disney says, we're done with that. So they cut off the Kang the Conqueror as best they can. They kind of tie it up in Loki as best they can, and we're done. So now it's no longer the Kang dynasties. My point of saying that is, maybe they just went and got Jonathan Majors and then went through all that with it, that they're like, this is a safe bet. We need a powerhouse for Dr. Doom, one of the greatest comic book characters of all time. Again, not a comic fan. This is just what my comic friends tell me. Okay. So if he's one of the greatest comic book characters of all time, you can't screw it up. Who do you go get? Well, I mean, you could do worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when it's mostly the voice.
Right. As I'm saying. Right.
He's money.
Right. So that's number one. Number two is maybe he is a Tony Stark variant, and there was maybe they went up to Robert Downey Jr. and they go, "Hey, look, here's the deal. In Secret Wars, we're going to have Iron Man come back and Captain America come, and whatever it is." And he says, "I'm not interested in a Tony Stark cameo. I'm not interested in one. I'm not doing it." And they say, "Well, what if we give you a full-time job? What if we make you Doctor Doom? Would you do it then?" I can see him being like, "Okay, I'll revisit Tony Stark for 2 minutes because I'm already on board doing something. I'm not here to be a day player and be hired for one day to come in and do this. But I'll do it if I'm part of this other thing where all I have to do is change costumes." So maybe that's it.
Could be.
I don't know. My point though is, am I so mad at this that I will not see it? Hell no. I'll be there opening night, just like I was for Deadpool.
I want to see it more because Robert Downey Jr. is in it.
So I'm curious.
Because I'm curious, and like, if you're a betting man, I'm not going to bet against Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Like, there's a chance they screw this up, and I get that thing that I don't want, which is always seeing him and thinking Iron Man. But more than likely, he's so good, and I think they're going to be careful that, like, yes, now I care more about these two.
There were movies, okay, in the MCU. There are movies, probably 4 or 5 of them, right, that I would easily say I could have written a better script for. Sure. It's very, very few. Very, very rare.
Give me one of those.
The Marvels.
Okay.
But my point, though, is that this team of writers, okay, at the MCU, at Disney, whatever, are far smarter than I will ever be. Therefore, I trust that they know what the hell they're doing, as opposed to bringing Robert Downey Jr. out at SDCC and announcing him as Doctor Doom, a completely different character that he played for, what was it, 12 years, 13 years?
Yep.
Right?
Something like that.
So I have to assume and have faith that they know what they're doing. So therefore, I'm willing to. I don't like it right now if I feel uneasy, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a home run later.
Curiosity's peaked.
Yeah.
And I mean, they achieved their goal.
I know.
It's not the end. This is not the end. It's not just like, by the way, he's Doctor. There's going to be so much more to the story.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And they wanted people talking about it. So we are.
I have a follow-up question, though.
Oh.
Okay, so Deadpool and Wolverine just makes that they don't dance around the fact that people have been majorly disappointed with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a few years now, and they've had stinker after stinker, right?
You've come in at a low point.
You've come in at a low point. It was a great line.
It was great.
And accurate. Okay, so they give us this little piece of good news, and it's been a lot of disappointment leading up in the last few years. They don't have a whole lot of capital with many people anymore. If they screw up Doctor Doom and the next movie,
Okay.
are you done? Are you out?
No.
The masses are.
No,
Yes.
they're not.
Yes, I think they are.
I don't think the masses are done because there's always going to be enough curiosity. They're still going to make enough money.
We just sat here and had a whole conversation and episode about how superhero fatigue
There is fatigue.
here. So if you put the nail in the coffin,
we talked about quantity of movies during a year too, because
Yes,
we need
that's
them
part of it.
and TV release. We need them to spread out more because that's fatigue. A lot is bombardment.
I agree with
It's
that.
not
but
just about the quality of the film.
Yes.
It's about bombardment
Yes,
too.
but the population still has to go see. If you bring in Doctor Doom, they still got to go see Fantastic Four and all these movies leading up to it.
Yeah.
There's still homework involved.
I know too many people that say, like, look, I just want to go and I want to be entertained. I don't want to have to take a 300 level course before I get there to understand what's going on. And they've also been disappointed. Like the last shot they gave it was Quantumania, and they walked out going, I think it's done. Me and them. That's a not insignificant portion of people out there that could buy tickets.
Okay, but since they announced Secret Wars, that re-piqued a lot of curiosity in people because people that are excited about comic book movies overall had enough people at least excited about that. But it's
Those
how
are
are they
people
going?
are-
How are they going to get to that? Okay, so it's leading into what you're asking though, is how they're going to get to that, because everyone knows we're going to see a lot of faces that we've seen in the past with Secret Wars and new ones and variants of those.
Yes,
because that has an intriguing story already. Because most people that are at least curious about Marvel movies know what Secret Wars means, and the fact they're still keeping Secret Wars means we're going to get fan service again, but we're going to get something that's going to be intriguing, especially with Russo brothers attached to it. How are they going to lead to get to that will be a key point, Jim. It will be. Okay? But I think they're doing it right by not rushing the X-Men. They've been little teases here and there, not rushing to it because they know there's money in the X-Men. They could
in their hills.
They could have rushed. They could have really rushed X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
They could have.
Especially with being a down point.
Right. But having Fantastic Four and X-Men, the key proponents, plus Spider-Man, of Marvel, when you think about what needs to be making money and the characters that have so much story to them, I think they made good decisions there by not rushing those. Fantastic Four and having it set in a completely different decade. It's going to be a period piece, which is going to connect somehow. It's going
to have to win me over because I am not a Fantastic Four fan. That movie, when that came out, I gave it 2 alternate titles. It was the Fantastic Four and the Blandtastic Four.
Yes. But to Bradford's point, though, the Fantastic Four is a tentpole for Marvel Comics.
They know they have to get this right.
Okay.
There's all these other fill-in movies, and I totally get it. They're not as strong. They know so much rest on Fantastic Four. And I think that's why they went with the casting they did, because those are names that, at least those names, will bring people to the theater. Yeah. That key moment right there.
Mando alone for me.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal is going to bring people to the theater.
Yeah.
Then you have...
He's a draw.
Right, you have so many, and you have key pieces, and all 4 of those people have played some major roles here of late, major award-winning roles here of late too. They're being very strategic with Fantastic Four because they know so much lies on that to lead into the next thing. So that being said, yes, there's a lot of pressure to get it right, but now that they have this excitement for Robert Downey Jr., again, safe. There's so many things they're trying to do with things a little safe. They don't need to take things that are just big swings for the fences. We don't need them having big home runs here and every single time and just all you're doing is doing that or striking out. Get a little bit of safety in there, build that base back up because it's already starting to turn into a Star Wars fan base where people will just hate for the sake of hating.
Oh, yes, that's
a lot of times.
Sure, that's
it's that when you get bigger fan bases, things like that.
It becomes automatic.
It becomes automatic. There's lots of hate. They understand that. I think they do understand that. I think even with Star Wars, I know Acolyte had plenty of naysayers about it, but there are some really intriguing parts about the Acolyte.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in Marvel, but they have to space it out.
I didn't care.
The thing...
Acolyte bored me to death.
That's a discussion for another day.
That's a discussion for another day. But they have to stretch it out. That's the key thing.
Which I would love to have, by the way.
They're doing so much better now in their plans, thanks to the strike. They had to space things out.
The strike and failure is teaching them lessons. So they're going...
Well, they learn.
Yes, they're going safer. Dr. Doom with the Robert Downey Jr. is definitely like, okay, all right, the boardroom can go, okay, we're good with him. He's good.
He's not a wild card.
The first trailer for the new Captain America was actually intriguing enough.
It's awesome.
This is gritty. This looks rough. This reminds me of Civil War, which is elite. MCU for me is Winter Soldier. Very much Winter Soldier vibes from the new Captain America trailer. So if we get back to a lot of that, and it doesn't have to always be connected, like Captain America doesn't have to be connected to the multiverse near as much. There's still segments in there, but we need a good, gritty Captain America movie in the home base to really get those fans back
in reality.
In reality. Right? We haven't had that in a while. Everything's been witches and wizards and AI and so, multiverse.
Right.
I think that's a good time for the new Captain America to come out soon.
Thanks for hanging out with us, talking Deadpool and Wolverine, and talking about the reappearance of Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU. Tell us what you think. Why the hell was Thor crying? Even Deadpool didn't get that answer. Pothole. You tell us.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.